Hi, everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. So, Pope Francis passed away. May his soul rest in peace. However, there's been a lot of talks on the internet, especially TikTok.
No one realized why Pope Francis died after meeting JD Vance. The truth is heartbreaking. Francis had been hospitalized with pneumonia 5 weeks earlier, but he pushed through to deliver his final Easter Mass and meet with JD Vance. They had clashed over immigration policies before, but Pope Francis still welcomed him. That visit turned out to be their final encounter. Many are drawing parallels to Liz Truss, who met Queen Elizabeth II just 2 days before her death. Pope Francis was the only pope to openly speak about LGBTQ issues, climate change, and other social topics. He was also the first pope from Latin America. In interviews, Francis said he never thought about his personal legacy. Francis devoted his life to the church, even choosing to live in a modest guest house instead of the apostolic palace. He will be buried at the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome. Still, Francis wasn't without controversy during his life. He publicly acknowledged and apologized for clergy abuse cases, though some accused him of performative humility. Francis had battled a serious case of pneumonia at 21, and in the end, it was pneumonia that claimed him at age 88. Do you think Pope Francis was a good pope?
Now, people are saying that before they met briefly, the Pope didn't want to see him because of certain issues.
Imagine being so unlikable that the guy whose job it is to meet people and love everyone doesn't want to meet you. If by some miracle you are that socially unappealing, you might be JD Vance. Because Vice President JD Vance, who's made being a Catholic one of the few defining traits of his personality, was snubbed by Pope Francis this weekend at the Vatican. According to a Vatican statement, he allegedly sent his number 2, a deputy cardinal, to lecture the Vice President on compassion. Imagine being so insufferable that the global head of your own church sends someone to tell you to pack it in. There was an exchange of opinions, which basically means, there was an argument. There was a disagreement. JD Vance was told by someone from the Vatican that he needs to get his shit together. We need to put that into context and realize that Pope Francis has frequently called Trump and Vance's deportation effort a disgrace and a grave sin. The Pope is calling what you're doing a sin and you're still doing it. Great job, JD. Great, good, really real Catholic stuff. Not to mention that earlier this year, the Pope had to come out and correct, without naming JD Vance, but correct him on his revolting use of medieval Catholic literature to justify mass deportation. I cannot stress this enough. You've got the Pope, who does not weigh in on political issues normally stays apolitical, coming in to tell you to keep Catholicism's name out of your goddamn mouth. The embarrassment would just make me evaporate, personally. I don't know how JD Vance does it. While absolutely astounding that we're looking at the first US administration that is quite literally, satanic in nature, according to the Vatican, essentially.
After all of that, they actually met briefly. And a few hours after they met, the Pope passed away. And now of TikTok, at least all the videos that I've seen, people are roasting Mr. JD Vance, the Vice President of the United States, because they are saying that he survived a lot of things until he met JD Vance. So JD Vance, at this point in time, a lot of people have a list for him of people that they think that he should meet, because if that's the case and he keeps, going into places, he met the Pope died, he went to touch a trophy, the trophy broke. Then JD Vance, we have a list for you. But anyway, let's get into what people have to say about this whole situation. I'm going to come back and talk some more and leave your own thoughts and opinions in the comment. Thank you.
JD's the type of person to be walking and then he steps on a rake and then the rake smacks him in the face, or he's walking and then he slips on a banana peel, or a piano falls out of the sky and only hits him, or lightning only hits him, or he's running off a cliff and then he goes and then he falls down, he doesn't notice. It's why this is the most Looney Tunes character, because why is all this stuff happening to you? How do you meet the Pope and then a few hours later the Pope dies? And if you're the Pope was already old, okay, fine, coincidence. Okay, let's just say coincidence. Okay, so then why did you lift up a trophy of a team that won some big award and then the trophy breaks as soon as you hold it? Okay, that's not coincidental, okay? It kind of makes me feel a little bad for him. It's just oh my, it's he can't win. He tries so hard to be cool and every single thing he does. It's you're not destined. I don't think you're destined. There's some cosmic thing going on. You're not destined for it, okay?
And JD Vance killed the Pope. Wow, that's crazy. Who said that? Me. Let's keep the rumor going. What I want to know is, how terrible of a person does JD Vance have to be in order for you to meet the Pope, okay, on Easter Sunday, a blessed day, and the Pope want to hit next day shipping as soon as he meets you? And he was immunocompromised. He had pneumonia. So you went in and saw him without a mask, without gloves, knowing that your ass don't believe in vaccines, and we know you don't wash your ass. Was this a DEI effort? You know y'all don't have jurisdiction in the Vatican, right, to get your DEI efforts out the way? But I digress. What I want to know is the Pope, the poor Pope, the man who advocates for war-torn children and immigrants and climate change, that's who y'all wanted to get up out the paint? Because we know you had one agenda only. And my thing is, logically, walk with me. If something happens to my husband today, they're going to be like, who were you with last night, right? Who were you with yesterday? Who were the last people to see you? And it's going to be me. And then they're going to put me on court. So I just feel like, if you catch my drift, JD Vance, he got to go to court for this. We got to figure out if and when he gave him the kiss of death. Thank you.
So I was raised Catholic. I'm not practicing anymore. But, I still feel that like just low-key feeling of shame that I go through on a daily basis, because we're told pretty much from jump that we're born evil and we need to be baptized right away to cleanse our sins. So I have to imagine that if JD Vance had even like the lowest level of that sense of shame, it might like be a real eye opener, might make him lose some sleep to go to Rome, be told you cannot meet the Pope unless you have my second in command give you a lecture on compassion and actually being a real Christian. Then you get that photo op and then the Pope promptly dies within 24 hours. I mean, if I'm JD Vance, I'm like, is this my fault? Did I do that? I'm looking internally. And I doubt he is. So, just saying.
Pope Francis, why did you leave us? What did you see? And why didn't you tell us? Right here, I know that you saw something. I know that you felt something. And you said, absolutely not. I'm out of here. Jesus may have risen, but I will not. And you see right here, the man in the middle was actively trying to do an exorcism right at this moment. He saw whatever was in this racist Care Bear spirit leaped into Pope Francis and got him up out of here. That's what I believe. This is what is happening right now. And it was at this moment that he said, you know what? I know that this man is about to bust hell wide open and he's trying to take the rest of us with him. And I'm not going. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell Sky Daddy and JC that they gonna have to deal with you. I can't do it, but I don't want to be here to find out what's happening.
So the Pope died, and his final meeting was with this human potato. He spent his final hours with Miss Judith Delight Vance herself, telling her to stop being such a fool. The Pope literally asked to meet with JD, who is a devout Catholic, because this administration is, doing things like sending innocent Americans to concentration camps in El Salvador, things like that. And before this, the Pope sent a cardinal to him and was like, hey, JD, Jennifer Daniel, the Pope's upset. He wants you to stop. He wants you to be a good person. And JD was like, okay, Grandpa, whatever. And the Pope heard about this and he was like, okay, JD, Miss Jasmine Diamond Kennedy Vance -Couch, you need to come and speak with me personally, please. And so he went and again was like, hey, JD, can you tell your boss to stop? Remember all of these things that you say that you believe in? Perhaps you could help kind of lead the administration in that way. And then he died. So he spent his final hours on this earthly plane with Miss Just Dance Vance, which if I were the Pope, I'd be pissed.
The Pope passed away 4 hours after shaking his hand. He met one of the devil's disciples and then died. Shortly after. Do with that information what you will.
JD Vance is so insufferable that the Pope took one look at him and said, you know what? I have fought cancer, Nazis, the devil himself, but this Ohio gremlin, I'm out. The Pope survived hospital visits, organ failure, and the Italian health care. But one JD Vance handshake, and the Pope said, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm not strong enough for this GOP jump scare. Pope really said, Lord, this trial, it's too great. Beam me up. Honestly, though, I can't blame him, because if my choices were small talk with JD Vance or death, I'm packing my sunscreen and tankini for hell. You'd pass me a margarita in the fam, because Lucifer, baby, I'm coming.
JD Vance complaining that he was not going to get to meet the Pope, only for the Pope to hit him with a better make it count then, dude. Absolutely cosmically funny. That kind of thing makes me believe that there might be a God, because how do you explain how deeply hilarious that is? A horrifyingly bad Catholic with no sense of empathy, morals, or direction in his life, certainly not from any God, just is such a petulant little freak and then complains, effectively through national news wires that he's unfairly not going to get to meet the leader of one of the biggest religious institutions, if not the biggest religious institution in the world, only for the Pope, a guy who has demonstrated an immense amount of humility and a willingness to learn and grace, to finally give him his last wish and then just peace out and go meet his maker. You can't you can't write better comedy than that, man. I wonder how JD Vance is feeling. I wonder if he's looking himself in the mirror any differently. Probably not, because then he'll probably burst into flames or whatever. Sucks to suck, JD.
People are genuinely upset that the Pope had to meet JD Vance the day he died. But could you imagine, you're a convert to Roman Catholicism, you meet the head of the entire Roman Catholic Church, and they tell you off. They tell you the way you're treating immigrants runs contrary to the gospel of Jesus Christ, and then the Pope dying the same day? That is some Dickensian shit. That is some Jacob Marley shit. I wouldn't be surprised 7 years from now the Pope shows up with 3 ghosts on 420 in JD Vance's bedroom, and then suddenly becomes, a good person.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be him. If I was him, I would feel so bad, after him refusing to see you, sending somebody else to speak to you, and then you finally meet, and he dies a few hours later, and everybody's saying all those things on the internet. I'll feel so bad. I wonder who is going to be the next pope after him, since everyone is saying that he was a great pope, and if they're going to be like him, may his soul rest in peace. Yeah, and hopefully he gets into the gates of heaven, right? Because is that not what it's all about? Unless Catholics believe something different. Yeah. And may they find somebody who is maybe like him to replace him. But as for Mr. JD Vance, yeah, we have a list actually. Yeah, some people want him to meet their ex-husbands and ex-boyfriends. Some want him to meet Putin. Honestly, I would feel bad if I was in his shoes, but hey, it's the internet for you, some things, well, they just happen. I wonder what the conspiracy theorists are going to say about this. But hey, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again with another video. Take care of yourselves and one another. Bye.